Okay, my name is Robert Day. I'm called Bob. I'm Associate Dean at the UCSF School of Pharmacy. Today is January, I think the 19th, 2012. I've been asked to provide some information on the collection I've assembled over the years. I was born in Sacramento, California in July 4, 1934. I am now 78 years old and looking forward to retirement, which will begin in 2 weeks. I have been collecting memorabilia for the School of Pharmacy almost since my first day as a member of the faculty in 1962. So when I retire, I'll be completing a 50-year stint with the university. I want to start by telling you about the 2 plaques that we have mounted on the north walls of the elevator lobby of the Medical Sciences building. These 2 plaques are dedicated to 2 very important people in the School of Pharmacy at the time these plaques were thought up. William Searby was a major dean. He died in 1909. He lived a couple of blocks from here. He was dean during the 1906 earthquake and fire. And he had many important jobs in his life, including he was president of the American Pharmacists Association, which was quite unusual for a West Coast person to do so. He was well beloved. There are all sorts of records telling us about William Searby. I know less about the plaque for William Theodore Wenzel. I know less about him. He also is obviously a prominent person. You'll find his name mentioned in the archives and the records. I've not paid particular attention to him, so we'll just have to take it from the words that exist on this plaque. Let me tell you that these plaques were originally installed on the south walls of this lobby, but later construction decided that they should be moved here. And you will see that there has been damage done to them in the process of moving. In fact, the people that did it wanted to throw them away, and I threw my body in the way of them and said, no, this is too important to throw away. There's a funny story associated with these plaques. Everybody has asked, why are they tombstone? In fact, not even tombstone, but mausoleum size. And the reason behind that is it was not on the basis of a plan. When Searby died and when Wenzel died, they were so well esteemed that money was collected to prepare some kind of a memorial for them. Searby actually did have several other memorials, one made out of brass and so on, but it was decided at that time that they would have a plaque, a marble plaque made in the names of both of these men, even though they died at separate times. What happened is that the School of Pharmacy went through several moves, several new deans. They forgot about the fund, and in the 1950s, a secretary to the then dean, Troy C. Daniels, came to him and said, what are we going to do with this money that we have for this memorial fund? And he said, what's it all about? And she explained it to him. And so therefore he said, basically, let's, well, I don't care. It's for a plaque. Just order the plaques and we'll have them installed. What she did was to contact a marble company and say, I've got X number of thousands of dollars available. Please make whatever the money will support. So when they arrived, it shocked both of them that these were about 16 times larger than they had envisioned, and they had to decide what to do with them. Rather than throw them away, they had them mounted, and then people, I refer to them as the tombstones for these people, and the story I tell is that they're buried in the walls upright, although obviously that's not the situation. So that's the story of these. So this is my office in S951. I've been here about 25 years, and I would like to tell you that the disheveled state that you see is an unusual one due to the fact that I'm moving out, but the fact of the matter is it's looked like this pretty much from the day I moved into it. That is to say, I've been receiving items. I've very poorly categorized them, generally just stuffed them wherever they would fit, and in some cases that's on the floor. It's quite an obstacle course for janitors to clean this room, but they've always been very faithful about doing a pretty good job, considering that I've cluttered it up immensely. The collection I've assembled probably can be categorized into 4 separate categories. First of all, there's documents that go back to the beginning of the School of Pharmacy, and those are in this cabinet, and I'll explain those. There are photographs which are scattered all over the room, and portraits that have been, again, collected from various sources, and I'll try and recall where those are at such time as I expose you to them. Then there are such things as videotapes that are held in this drawer, beginning with the age of electronics when portable video equipment was available and the university acquired capacity for making videotapes. And then finally we have audio tapes. For tapes of what went on at some of our alumni association meetings, tapes of the voices of famous people on the campus like Chauncey Leake, and Troy C. Daniels and Jerry Goyen and people such as that. And that, I think, are the 4 categories. And what I will do is go through those one by one, beginning with the documents that go back to the beginning of the School of Pharmacy. Now, I should tell you that these documents came to me from various sources. I can't remember exactly where each one came to me, but it happened on the basis of my showing an early interest in basically equipment. I saw something in the storeroom that used to be on the 8th floor, in which we kept all of our chemicals and supplies for students. And I said, "What is that?" And the storekeeper said, "Oh, it's just an old piece of junk that the School of Pharmacy had." Well, it turned out it was a beautiful spectroscope for measuring the inversion effect of sugar on light rays, and it was made out of brass. It was beautiful, and it was really corroded and junky, and it was disassembled. And I said I would like that, so I took it and had it polished up, and it was beautiful. And I kept it until the 1987 earthquake, when somebody stole it out of my office, because my office had been cleaned out because the chemicals were all over the place. Chemicals from the bottles that I had collected from the drugs I'd collected. The reason I told you that story is that set off the notion that I was interested in historical things, and people then one by one began to tell me about stuff they had had. They had collected it from somebody who had been in their office before them, a member of the faculty, but the bulk of the stuff came from the manufacturing facility. And Stephen Dean, who had been on the faculty at that point since 1928 or so, asked me if I'd like to have a box of miscellaneous documents relating to the School of Pharmacy. And I said, yeah, well, kind of like, I didn't really feel I was the right guy. But I cracked the very first one of them, and I will show you that document eventually, and it was the one that really set in motion my interest in the School of Pharmacy history. From that point forward, a member of the faculty would retire, a janitor would come across something, and it would come my way. And then when I became established that I was the guy on whom you dumped your junk, and I'm glad I had that reputation, they did. And I began to collect equipment of all kinds, including some of which goes back to the beginning of the School of Pharmacy and was used in our dispensing laboratories, or compounding laboratories at that time. So it came to me kind of like pell-mell, and as I say, I can remember the origin of some of it, but most of it I will not be able to tell you that, gee, John Jones gave me this on October the 14th, because I just don't remember.